Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging podcast discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Caccera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Caccera.
Welcome in, Joe Caccera with Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. As we roll into another Friday, I'm sitting alongside Bobbi and Buddy. Good to be back with you guys.
It's always great to be here.
Oh, love it, love it.
We're on a part two ride of we're ultimately three, right? We're going to cover this. Last Friday we covered part one. We're going to roll into part two. A lot of good information. Title: Moving in and moving out of the USA. That's right. We're going to give you some good data information to hopefully share with your friends, family, coworkers, and who knows, maybe some of those international buyers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We proved it in part one that there's a lot of them coming in, and we're learning more and more about the ones that are the U.S. and Canadian folks that are moving south of the border. Yeah, matter of fact, if you didn't catch it, what we did, and it was one of the facts, is that matching up the recent survey from the National Association of Realtors on those purchases, those main three buyers matching perfectly with our top three downloads. We mentioned that. Yep, our international downloaders.
Fancy.
Keep downloading, guys. Keep those downloads going. Thank you, all seriousness, really. Thank you very much. We need to thank these people on a more regular basis for not only the downloads continue to grow, but they grow internationally, and they're being shared a lot. I got a call just yesterday. It's really cool when you get a phone call when someone that says, love the podcast, and I've been sharing it with my friends and family because I just really enjoy it. You guys are doing a good job. So
right, I love that
fun.
too.
Good
and
stuff.
Send us those messages. We have bad days. We just don't tell you that on radio, on podcasts or radio or anything else. We kind of keep that low, but it really makes us feel good and energized. And if there's something we're not doing or not talking about, please let us know. As long as it's real estate related, lifestyle relaed.
Yeah, we could even go off topic sometime. Buddy and I are known to do that.
No.
We drift, right?
Yeah.
No.
well,
without a paddle.
Or with one, run round and round and round.
Usually when Bobby's not here.
That's right.
That's called while the cat's away.
That's right.
The mice will play.
So, thank you again, everyone. And, the downloads are great. Keep them coming. If there's anything else that we could share with you, we're going to keep that rolling for you. So, Buddy, you going to get us caught up?
Yeah, okay. Let's take a quick look back at what we did last week. And, of course, you can go to reradiolive.com and check that out. Or you can go to Bobby's site, bobbydecker.com, and get back into what we the podcast from last week. But let me give you a quick snapshot of what we covered.
Okay.
In addition to the exciting news that we lined up with the three top countries, those folks that came into our country last year, according to the National Association of Realtors report, spent $153 billion. My, oh, my, oh, my. In the 12-month report that ended March 17th.
But the killer is, Bud, is that's 49% of the money spent in here. They spent another $160 billion on commercial property, Joe. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of inflow.
It really is.
Yeah, so you can always go back and get into the detail of that report in Bobby's July 17th blog post. All the reference material is there. Then we had an immersive week with Michael Cobb of ECI Development Corp. Mike is the CEO of the firm, and he's also a member of the National Association Board of Directors because they're having a hard time figuring out the move-out rate. They got the move-in numbers pretty clear, but the move-out rate is an issue. So Mike is in there trying to help them, and he's got beautiful properties in Central and South America, and it's attracting a lot of North American retirees and vacation property owners and investors. Mm-hmm. Then next we talked about the CIPS, the Certified International Property Specialist designation, that if you're a realtor and you want to be in the flow of all this business that's coming from offshore, you need to get this designation, and you can do that because Bobbi is a teacher, and she teaches here in California and worldwide the CIPS Of course. So that kind of gives us a little catch up on where we were. And Bobbi, maybe just a little bit more about CIPS, if you would.
Just to wrap it all up, I'm not the only instructor, but I am one of very few. I think there are only 5 of us in California.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's really rarefied air. Really, think 30. I like the 3 3s. So think 3,300 of designees around the world, and you've got very rarefied air. And you know who loves this designation? The Canadians. They love it. They had a big class the other day. I think that, or a couple of weeks ago, it was about 60 of the realtors up there were in this class, huge auditorium. But I'll tell you what, it's worth getting, and it opens you up to a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of doing business, and makes you sensitive to other cultures. That's what I find the most rewarding.
Very true. That is very true, and that's one of the things about it that it doesn't. We've talked about this before, and that's why, again, not to really just piggyback on this as you finish that, Bobbi. That is, the numbers are what 8 or 9% of realtors do 90+% of the business. So there you have it. So I guess that explains the reason why so few do it. But this is, I guess, my point is make sure if you're listening to this podcast, make sure when you go to buy or sell real estate or need some education, do it with a person who
is a professional.
Well, just last night, Buddy and I were bored. I can't remember why. I think we were exhausted.
Exhausted was
I think words. Exhausted is it, because we were up and out of the house by 7 and didn't get back until like 9. And it was just business. So we sat down and what is that, $1 million listing in New York City? I have to tell you, I almost fell off the couch because somebody was invited to a birthday party for another ethnicity. And he did I'm not going to say what they were, but he did 4 things totally wrong. And how he still ended up getting the listings is beyond me. That's why I know it's scripted.
It's all staged. Come on.
Because if anybody had done that, anyone in the class had done that at a birthday party, they do not mix business and family and birthdays and personal. Right. It's very delineated in other cultures.
Yeah, it was all just staged.
All for show.
Yeah. Well, we know now.
Yeah.
The cat's out of the bag.
All right, so let's get into some more of the detail of the National Association report that was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal a while ago. As we stated, many people from many countries are buying property in the U.S. That shouldn't be a surprise. It keeps growing. The trend is growing, and it's really at a breakneck pace. I mean, it's amazing. We keep going back to these numbers, but staggering the percentage of growth.
49% growth
and how much money is being spent.
Wow.
Amazing. So what we haven't given you, and why we haven't, is despite some of the obstacles. So let's start with our number 1 international downloads, the Chinese. Number 1. They held on to the top spot in the terms of the dollars spent for the 4th straight year, spending $31.7 billion. That's right, billion. Compared to the $27.3 billion in the previous period. So what we see here, you guys, a quick summary is it's continuing to grow. Number 1 is the Chinese, of course, and the downloads we just talked about. But more importantly, this is probably not going to go backwards, right? Do you see this growth continuing?
So Bobbi's going to talk about an obstacle that gets in the way, and somehow they find ways around things.
Yeah, right.
Maybe Bobbi gets started on that issue.
Well, I love the fact that many cultures, not just Chinese, but many cultures pool their money, Joe. They help each family members out. They send money. It's called repatriation, and they send money back to their families, and then they save and somebody comes over and they buy, and then they save and somebody else comes over and they buy. Now they put huge restrictions on the outflow of money from China, and we have
meaning the government,
the government, and they find a way around it. They do. I mean, they're clever, and you know what? As much as Americans sit around and complain about everything, God only knows what complain. They think America's great.
We don't know how
that's
good we
why
have
they're
it, seriously.
spending.
Yeah, that's true. Right. We
150.
take a lot for granted.
We do. Go take a trip to Africa. Go take a trip to some of these third world countries. You'll come back and you'll just be so thankful. You're in, with all our flaws, we are a fabulous, great country. There's my speech.
Okay. Well, and
I'm sticking to it.
I can actually.
She's on a soapbox right now,
but I can actually add to that now.
Yes.
Some of this information in the report tries to point out the whys. Why are they moving here? So, particularly for our little Northern California, I have some news for you. In certain parts of China, it's more expensive than even here.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, the price per square foot is crazy.
So guess what? Close your ears, everybody here in Northern California. Your property is cheap by comparison.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that amazing? As
and
much as we talk about the prices
let's
going
go to California and get a deal. Come on. Get on a plane.
Hey, San Francisco, here we come.
But you also can't get these size homes.
That is true.
In many of the countries. They don't build them that
right.
big, Joe.
And it looks a little different, by the way. Right?
Yeah.
Northern California, aesthetically, let's face it, looks a little bit different than some of these international cities.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And up here in the north, we don't have any smog, as opposed to some other place in California. Okay. So also, this remains a great place for education. A lot of people come here. Bobby's sold a number of clients just to help them have a piece of property while their children go to school here, particularly in the higher education areas, all the different colleges that we have here. And then, as crazy as it may sound, Bobby talked about it before, as wacko as we think our own government is, guess what?
It's so stable
we have
compared
more
to the others.
wackos throughout the countries. Is that right?
I would have to tell you that it's we're doing fine by comparison.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk maybe about hopefully less wackos, more information, good stuff for you. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, the podcast series. The topic today is moving in, moving out, part 2 in the U.S. We're going to keep coming at you with a lot of good data. We'll be back with you in just a minute.
For more information on today's program, visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com.
Today, Sotheby's International Realty operates in the San Francisco Peninsula and Silicon Valley. They offer exclusive Sotheby's International Realty marketing, advertising, and global referral services designed to attract well-qualified buyers to the company's property listings. They also add new technologies to the 200-year-old tradition of exceptional service, such as their Lifestyles website. Visit them at svlifestyles.com for those that are interested in some of the finer things in life. From exotic cars to yachts, fashion, finance, food, wine and spirits, there is video that fits all those lifestyles and more. svlifestyles.com. In addition, the company and its clients benefit from an association with the Sotheby's Auction House, which promotes real estate referral opportunities with auction house clientele. Visit them at todaysir.com or call 650-597-1800. 650-597-1800.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's topic or guests, just visit reradiolive.com. That's reradiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live podcast series. As we roll through, I'm sitting alongside Bobbi and Buddy. We're having a conversation today about moving in and moving out of the United States of America, the great USA. This is part 2. We did part 1 last Friday, and we're going to continue rolling with this. A lot of good data and information. So where are we here? A couple insights here. I'm going to dive in. Couple more insights, I would say. First, the states where the greatest impact was felt. I'm going to go through that and share that with everybody. So 22% of the transactions were in Florida, California, and Texas. Each garnered 12%. So again, these states seem to pop up a lot, you guys. California and Florida may. I think that doesn't surprise people, but again, I'll just mention maybe Texas. It's It's the business-friendly stuff, and then let's face it, there's a lot of room to grow there, right?
Yep, and actually in the report they talked about the fact that the Mexican buyers, that's a great
good point.
That's a great
good point.
Position for them to go, or a great state for them to go. It's right next door to where they live.
So falling at a distance where New Jersey and Arizona each with 4% of the sales. Florida was the most popular state for Canadian buyers. Chinese buyers mostly chose California. And Texas was preferred by Mexican buyers. So that's interesting. Again, what I love about this is data, right? If you're going to make decisions, we say this all the time, gather your data, get it together, educate yourself, and you become a better buyer, seller, and educated consumer.
Yeah.
That's about it, right?
Yeah.
Educate
That's
yourself.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Bobby's certified international property specialist has a whole day of Asia in it.
Right. It's a 5-day course, Joe. The first day we do the overview of the world. Second day currencies. Third day is
5-day course. Okay.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Well,
8 hours.
A lot of information there.
8 hours.
Yeah.
One day is dedicated to Europe. The other is dedicated to the Americas, and then Asia. It's excellent. So anyway, getting off of that and on to why people are moving out.
Okay.
There are various reasons, Joe. One is retiring with not enough money to live well here.
Makes sense.
Okay. Vacation buyers are looking and saying, well, maybe I really don't want to move there, but I'll go there for 6 months and then I will come back. And the vacation buyers want something that looks very much different than what somebody who's going to buy a home down there kind of thing. And because you want to have the amenities. If you're going to buy for investment and investors, they need to buy in complexes, and they need to be very aware of what they need to look for in complexes and things like that. But we're going to do that in segment 3. So here you've got it. You've got money, or the lack of it will push these retirement people down to other countries. They are able to live well, Joe, really, really well, from like 15 to 30% of what it would cost to live well up here.
I hear that a lot, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then for the Canadians and the central and eastern citizens of the U.S., not fighting winter. My mom was so much healthier when I moved her out here from Boston, because she was in the house from like November till April.
That can't be
doing
too healthy
nothing.
when you're,
because you don't want to go out and fall. They're scared to death of slipping and falling on the ice. And then you've got potential of rental income if you're going to be an investor down there. You need to, of course, choose a great property manager. But there's a real and big corporations are looking down there. Big hotel chains, everything. I think they've expanded themselves out in the U.S. So if you're ahead of that curve, think of the explosive potential for increase in value. And then the lifestyle. This is you, Joe. The beach, all the accoutrements.
I'm all about the lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. And, you can actually live on the beach. And what did Mike say that a house on the beach cost? It was crazy.
Well, you could get a condo for $168,000 on the beach.
Yeah, oceanfront.
Wow.
Oceanfront.
He says that also, Mike said that while they were living there, they got their fresh fruit delivered every week at a cost of $8.
A weekly supply
of
fruits and vegetables.
And then the household help is also very, very reasonable. You're looking at just under $200 a month to have somebody take care of it. And that's not counting the cooking, because they love to cook. So that, there would be more to have.
But you can get people that'll do all the cooking too.
And see, and what he says, which was so cool, Joe, he says, I'm increasing their level of income. Right. So we're doing huge give back by employing the community.
No, that's a good point that we forget about sometime. There's a reason why, and believe me, those people love to see others come in, invest in properties, become homeowners, and not only invest because that helps their economy.
Creates jobs.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So actually, if you want to think about moving offshore, it's a pretty good idea to go through a checklist. Mike has got a beautiful 25-question sort of test, if you will, to go through and figure out. And we were talking about doing a whole podcast around this because it would be fun. Those 25 questions, you kind of go through, you score yourself, and you find out if you're the kind of person that's really ready to move offshore. One little thing like, you got to be more patient. If you're a type A and you can't stand delays and a little bit loose information, you're going to be in trouble, because down in some of these countries, it's mañana time. Mm-hmm. So the scenario is, if you'd like to know more about this guide, like to get this guide, you can get to me. I'll be happy to send you a copy. You can email me at gwsaupe@imandsa.com. Let me say that again, gwsaupe@imandsa.com. Or you can text or call me at 650-533-8790. That's 650-533-8790. I'll be happy to get you one of these beautiful brochures about all the questions you need to answer when you move offshore or thinking about moving offshore.
Very good. Buddy's working on a small tour. Remember, is it Ambergris Island? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct. Ambergris Island in Belize. Mike's properties are we're going to again come in October 12th through the 16th. I'll be going, so that's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
All you need to know.
That's all you need to know. And I have to say, Joe, if somebody wants to buy an investment property, don't you think it's a better idea for them to call you and get the money out of the equity of their house?
Yeah, that's a good point.
As opposed to try and go. I would think it'd be expensive to try and buy down.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And talk about another podcast we should do is just, just financing in general, how to prepare yourself when buying internationally. So, I think the safest bet is to try to access money from current properties here in the U.S. for sure. Take that equity, maybe take an equity loan out or consolidate a first and second. Or, I know people have multiple properties. You might want to strategically look at one of those properties to draw cash from and then pay cash for it. I don't know enough about, and very few people do, financing internationally in different countries. And it does quite, it concerns me, I think, more when you talk about some of the South American countries, certainly Mexico and some of these places. So I would yes.
Buyer beware.
Unless you have a resource that you trust and you've done transactions before, I would say absolutely the priority would be take money from a property in the United States to make that purchase overseas.
That just seems to make much more sense to go, with everything ready.
Right.
And Mike also had pointed out there's no deal that is so great that you don't have to research it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Buyer beware. Come on, please. I mean, hopefully we've learned, right? The TV shows, the internet stuff, the radio shows, let's face it, that in the next 10 minutes, if you don't buy this place in Ecuador, you're going to lose out in the next 10 minutes, right?
In the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. So be careful. That's a really good point.
Well, there was a group of investors that went down in Mexico, and their chain, the title chain is not as clear. Okay? True. And this a hotel bought it. Not a hotel, I'm sorry, a condominium complex. Because they had, people came in, it was sold out. They'd been living there 2 or 3 years, they all got kicked out, and it got shut down because the land had not been properly vetted, and they found out they didn't really own it. And this is so you've got to know, and I think First American Title was one of the first people down there. So
really?
There are starting to have title companies now.
Yeah. Probably a little more
for that very for that very
search,
reason.
I would imagine.
Well, we covered some pretty serious ground here, moving in, move out series, and guess what? There is yet another podcast coming in the series, so keep your ears percolated for that. That's coming soon. So again, Bobbi, if realtors, brokers, owners, if they want more information about the designation or getting educated, they could reach you. What again is the best place to reach you?
Well, you can go on the YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Bobbi Ducker Instructor, and it talks about not just this designation, but just a designation, how to be a better buyer rep.
The video and right.
Real short. They're kept really, really short, 2 to 3 minutes.
Good.
Or you can just contact me, text me, and say you want to chat or whatever at 650-346-5352.
Raise your hand and say, I want to be educated.
I can't have any more letters after my name. I promise. I promise the people, they go, what is this string of letters? And they go, just.
All right. Well, just before we sign off, Joe, I have to talk about the fact that we had a lingering question.
There we go.
From our last program. We knew that China and Canada and UK were top of the list.
Yep.
And and we matched up perfectly with our podcasts. Our international podcast downloaders are the same: China, Canada, and UK, number 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. We suggested, because our number 4 downloader was Australia, we wanted to see if the National Association had that as the same scenario as we did.
Okay.
Sorry to say, nope.
Really?
Nope. India and Mexico beat out Australia.
Someone doesn't match up with us.
How dare they not match our
stats? Imagine a world in which that exists.
Ranya's going to call them up.
Well, Buddy just exposed you to it, Joe.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Good thing it's a Friday.
So we at least got the 3 most important out of the top 5.
That's good. Very good. Well, this has been, again, a great demonstration of information. I hope that you continue to learn and educate yourself. More importantly, if you're a realtor out there, if you have a brokerage, any organization, contact Bobbi for more information about getting educated. Again, it's for your clients, the better of the community, and serving your clients to add more value. All right, coming up next Friday, part 3, so stay tuned. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live, sitting alongside Bobbi and Buddy. Until next time, take care.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Subscribe to our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com.